Welcome to Finding Grace. Hope you all are having a beautiful, wonderful day today. It's a gorgeous day out here. Just absolutely gorgeous. So we were in chapter 20. We only got 22 chapters. So we're in chapter 21. Depending on how long it takes me to get through 21, I might do both today. So let's get it. Chapter 21. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth passed away, and the sea no longer is. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, having been prepared as a bride, having been adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God with men, and he will tabernacle with them, and they will be his people, and God himself will be with them as their God. And God will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no longer, nor mourning, nor outcry, nor pain will be any longer, for the first things passed away. And the one sitting on the throne said, Behold, I make all things new. And he says to me, Write, because these words are faithful and true. So just interesting that the first heaven and the earth pass away, right? So earth as we know it no longer will exist at some point in the time, and there won't be a sea anymore either. Jerusalem will come down in heaven, and God and us will be as one. We'll be together. We'll be able to talk, see, hang out, do whatever. But the most important things, he says, I make all things new. And these words are faithful and true, so that they will come to pass. Verse 6, and he said to me, It is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the ending. To the one thirsting, I will freely give of the fountain of water of life. The one overcoming will inherit all things, and I will be God to him, and he will be the son to me. But for the cowardly and unbelieving, and those having becoming foul, and murderers, and fornicators, and sorcerers, and idolaters, and all the lying ones, their part will be in the lake, burning with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. Okay, so we had the first death, right? Heaven and earth pass away. And then this is the second death. And those are for those who don't ever overcome. They will be burned in the lake of fire. So verse 9, and one of the seven angels came to me, he having the seven bowls being filled with the seven last plagues, and spoke with me, saying, Come, I will show you the bride, the wife of the Lamb. And he carried me in spirit onto a great and high mountain, and he showed me the great city, holy Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, having the glory of God. And its light was like a very precious stone, as a jasper stone, being clear as crystal, and having a great and high wall, having 12 gates, and 12 angels at the gates, and 12 tribes of the son of Israel. From the east 3 gates, from the north 3 gates, from the south 3 gates, and from the west 3 gates. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. And he speaking with me had a golden reed, that he may measure the city and its gates and its wall. And the city lies 4-cornered, even in its length, as much as the width also. And he measured the city with the reed at 12,000 stadia. Its length and width and height are equal. And he measured its wall 144 cubits, a measure of man, which is of an angel. And the structure of its wall was jasper, and the city was pure gold, like pure glass. So just to go back, that 12 is a multiple of 6. 6 is the number of man. It's also man angel, okay, and it's considered a perfect number, but not more perfect than 7. 7 is perfection, God perfection. It represents authority and government rule often in those scriptures. And also, God's appointed service, right? There were 12 disciples, there's 12 apostles. He talks here about multiples of 12, 144 cubits, which is the size of the New Jerusalem that comes. So all of these are multiplications of numbers, and there's a whole biblical numerology language out there that I don't know a whole lot about. I've kind of touched on it, but if you're interested in it, biblical numerology that's a whole nother level of understanding of the Bible, and it's quite amazing. But let's go. So verse 19, and the foundation of the wall of the city, having been adorned with every precious stone, the first foundation jasper, the second sapphire, the third chalcedony, the fourth emerald, the fifth sardonyx, the sixth sardis, the seventh chrysolite, the eighth beryl, the ninth topaz, the 10th chrysoprase. I don't know how to say that one, sorry. The 11th hyacinth, the 12th amethyst, and the 12 gates were 12 pearls, respectively. Each one of the gates was 1 pearl. And the street of the city was pure gold, as transparent glass. And I saw no temple in it, for the Lord God Almighty is its temple, even the Lamb. And the city had no need of sun, nor of the moon, that they might shine in it, for the glory of God illuminated it. Even its lamp is the Lamb. And the nations of the ones saved will walk in its light, and the kings of the earth bring their glory and honor into it. And its gates may not at all be able to be shut by day, for no night will be there. And they will bring the glory and the honor of the nations into it. And all profaning may not enter at all into it, nor any making an abomination or a lie, but only the ones having been written in the scroll of life of the Lamb. Okay, so I just want to go back to a couple of things here. So if you go, and I'm sure this is a whole study in itself, which the foundation of the city talks about each of the stones, the 12 stones, jasper. We know that each tribe had a stone, as well as, even Christ crystal is known as the stone for Christ. So that word, I did not do a word study on all those 12 stones, but I think that would be an interesting study. I think it's going to provide a lot of information. So I may do that. I don't know. Let me know if you want me to. But the whole point of this is God will now dwell with us, right? He's going to be with us. So he's going to be there. He's going to be present. Christ is the light that we need. There's no sun, there's no moon. And when he's talking about, when I looked up, and all profaning may not enter into it. Basically, those are the common and the unclean, okay? And so you have to remember that there were still, and I guess even at this time, there were still those around outside the city who were not allowed to enter inside the city that still were there, but were not allowed into the city. So that was all for chapter 12. Oh, the other thing was, I'm sorry, chapter 20 to 21. I did want to say an abomination. Abomination is often, again, a word that is taken out of context, and you have to look up that word for each specific time that it's mentioned in the Bible. Why? Because it means something different. It doesn't always mean, in general, the term that we have come to know it. Here, the term abomination is known as, it's Strong's 946. Of course, I don't know the word in Greek, but it's Strong's 946 if you want to look it up. And it is a fool, thing of idols, and things pertaining to idolatry. Okay, so when we're talking about abominations, we're talking about things that we place before Christ. And that's the whole point. That's Christ's whole point. I believe that he is extremely merciful. He's extremely kind. He's very accepting. But he wants us to put him first. And so that's just, I mean, we cannot, like, for example, one thing I would often do is before, you know, to me, more and more I spend time in the Word, the more I get reminded that I need to ask Christ for something before I go ask somebody else. So like before I ask a person, my husband or my wife, or before you go ask your husband, or before you go even ask your counselor or your pastor, you know, ask Christ first. I don't know, that was just the message I think he wanted me to share with you all this morning. So ask him first. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm not going to go through 22. I'm going to split this into two. This did take a little bit longer, and I like to keep it short as possible. So I hope you have a blessed day. Today, we did take some communion. My back's been hurting a little bit, so I have been in communion about that, and just bringing that to Christ. So pray with me, be with me. I will pray for you as well, your healing, your family's healing, and just the world's healing. Thank you for sharing some time with me. I'm finding grace. Have an awesome day. All right.